All right. Looks like we are in. Hello, everybody. All right. I'm going to give a few, 2 minutes for everybody to get into the room before we get started. Hope everybody's having a great Tuesday. Thank you guys so much for coming. Thank you, Carinna and Rose, for joining me today.
Yeah, I was excited when Photo Day invited me and Rose together.
I know,
it's pretty
right?
awesome. Yeah.
I'm
excited too.
For real. All right. Just another minute. Everybody feel free to say hey in the chat.
Yes, let us know that you're here. What are you doing on this wonderful Tuesday?
Right?
Is
it raining? It's definitely raining here.
It was raining here all day yesterday.
I wonder if we got your rain.
I think so.
Yeah. We had like tornado threats, which is very odd for us in this time of year. It was crazy. Oh, yay, people.
All right. Well,
hi, people.
Looks like we can go ahead and get started.
Okay.
For those of you who do not know, I am Stevie. I am part of the customer success team here at Photo Day. Before we get started, just a little rule. Go ahead and if you have any questions throughout, leave them in the Q&A section of the chat. Feel free to chatter in the regular chat, but if you have a question, leave it in Q&A, and we will get to questions at the end of the webinar. All right. So thank you, Rose and Carinna, so much for joining me. This is Carinna Boatwright of smaX Photography and Rose Coleman of Center Stage Photos. So today we're just going to be going over their journeys as volume photographers, how they got started using Photo Day, and the strategies that they have in place that help them be successful. So it's going to be awesome. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Okay, now what I'm going to do is so that we can see everybody really close, I'm going to stop the slides and let's jump into questions.
Okay.
All right, so starting at the very beginning, give us some background. How did you guys get started in the volume photography space, and how did you do things before using Photo Day? So who wants to go first? Carinna?
Carinna, why don't you go first? Yeah.
Okay. So how do we get started in the business? Actually, I have a culinary degree. Jay has a marketing degree. We had no business getting into photography. So we're one of those completely self-taught. But what happened to us is that we were married young. We had 3 small children, and when they're hungry and you have to have Christmas and you have to pay the bills, and you go all in on smaX Photography, you have to make things work. So we did. That's how we got started with in the business.
We had to. No options later.
Yeah. There was no backup plan, for all the people out there who are like, oh, this is my second job. I'm not really sure, if I want to go all in. If you go all in, it forces you to do the craziest things ever, and you make it happen. You take every job, but you make it work.
Yep.
And so how did you guys handle things before going online? Just so everybody knows.
Before we went online, we had paper order forms. We used GPA, which was Group Photographers of America, and they ended up going, COVID wiped them out. So we did everything paper beforehand. And then when we met Photo Day at a convention, that's when we went online. And COVID really forced us to go 100% online. So that was a blessing in disguise.
Right. I think that was the case for a lot of people. There was no choice. Okay, so Rose, what about you? How did you guys get started?
So I'm a second generation photographer. So both my parents were photographers for a very long time. So I grew up in the industry with a large background in portrait work. That's what we did, like high school seniors, families, kids, babies, and that kind of stuff. But then had kids as well. And then kind of restarted and said, okay, I'm just going to do volume because I didn't have to have a studio, didn't have to have the overhead of it. And I didn't want that with 3, like little kids of my own. And so I was like, okay, so we started just doing a volume route, which we rebranded as Center Stage. And then my husband came on and started helping and all of things. And so that's kind of our background. So I've kind of done, like, I shot my first wedding when I was 18. So I've like done it all, but I don't think I'll ever go back to doing the other by any means. I'm volume 100% now all the time, and it's great. And I love it.
Very cool. Okay. So before, did you guys always sell online, or like once you got started?
No. So same thing with COVID, that forced us. We had a shoot and show kind of process. So we would still do volume, but we'd show immediately, like as we were taking the pictures. We had iPads going, was wireless tethering, shoot through router, that whole thing with Canon. And we showed them the images, and they picked out the ones that they want. We started them, we filled out order forms. And so we still collected money, and we knew the images that they want. And then we had to self-fulfill on the back end, which that took a lot of time. So yes, COVID 100% made us put everything up online, which was one of the greatest things that ever happened to us.
Right. A hard change, but it has some benefits for sure. Okay. So I guess you kind of answered this question, but what made you turn towards online besides COVID? Is there anything that made you guys kind of go the online route?
Well, we had always been searching. For us, even though that we were paper order forms, we saw the push towards everything moving online, and we tried a few different platforms, and it never quite worked for us. And so when Photo Day came along, they just integrated all of the marketing. We had always had beautiful images for volume in particular. Like we were like on the fringe, and so figuring out a way how to sell those images, Jay would, with the order forms, you got one image per order form. And it would drive Jay crazy because he'd be there trying to shoot other images. And I'm standing over him like, what are you going to do? Like, we don't have another order form to sell this image. There's no way for them to see that. So we had probably for about 3 years, we had been looking into how we were going to sell online. So this was really a very seamless fit for us.
Okay.
Yeah. I think online, that was the hardest thing. I still think, even when I talk to people now, it's like, well, it's one image a form, right? So it's like, this is all I can do. And it's like, part of our strategy was, even before online sales, was multiple images. So like, how do you get multiple images if you're doing one order form, one per order form, which it sucks, So like allowing, same thing, like we were dabbling in things like, okay, Amazon is going to be the way of the world. Instacart is going to be my life now forever. I'm never going to go into a grocery store again. So I've got to figure out how to sell our stuff online, because it's just the way of the world. People want to order their stuff at 10 o'clock after their kids have gone to sleep on their phones. It's the only time, and they want to do it now. Right. So we had kind of similar in like figuring out like how we're going to dabble in it. But I would say Photo Day for me, when the capture app was the thing and we could then split buddy shots into multiple galleries, that for me was like a no-brainer. And it's probably still, it's still one of my favorite things about the whole system. It's a capture app for buddy shots.
Totally. It is such a good experience for so many people. Okay. So, I know you said multiple images, but what were some other immediate changes that you guys saw or were able to make once you went online?
I would say for us was just our process was then shoot, and then we had to self-fulfill. We printed, packaged, emailed images. We were able to just not have to handle any of that back end kind of process. It just like maximized the efficiency of our retouching and see how quickly we could get things out, and then just put it online and not worry about it, and as long as you're not messing up some of the things that go along, I think with doing that, like taking too long to get your images out, or not retouching your images, or like not having whatever you put on your special sauce on it, like just putting out junk stuff. Like if you don't do that and you take a little bit of time and care, then you can just let the Photo Day, process do it instead of just having to worry about all that stuff. And so that just allowed us then to open up our books more and then just keep shooting. It's like, okay, well, if we don't have to do that process, it used to be like for every day that we were shooting, I needed a day in the office to complete order forms and do all that stuff because I was doing it all myself. And so now it's like, nope, we don't have to do that. Now you can just worry about just how do you maximize the booking schedule and make that kind of be the top priority. That was the biggest change like for us.
Sweet. Yeah, I would say that's about right. And then also, talking about the editing for us, the in-office hours ended up changing. They switched from having to go through the paper order forms, all the checks, to actually having to edit all the pictures in-house now, right? So that's where for us, that's where kind of the crunch ended up happening for us, where we eventually found a solution to do our editing, but that was one of the biggest changes. So we were still kind of in the office a decent amount of time because we would come back with, some crazy 10,000, whatever, 20,000 images after the weekend. And we're now having to edit all these images instead of going through the paper order forms. So we're like, okay, what do we do now? So, it's a constant where you're going from having to problem solve one issue to the next one to figure out what is going to be the best integration. But another big thing with us is that our the staffing, it changed dramatically. We ended up saving so much money. We were able to go ahead and hire people to become talented photographers with us, and they come in the office and they work with us. And as opposed to us, it being kind of like a 3 or 4 man show, now we're a 6-man show, and full timers. And in the office, we're constantly creating, as opposed to I have to go through my employees and figure out who's going to do sales. Before I would have to have if on a big shoot, I had to have 3 salespeople collecting order forms, and I had to have image writers, I had to have posers, I had to have the photographers, because we wanted all of it, and we wanted the good experience. But it was a lot more expensive in that way. So really, some people, they complain about the price point or the percentage going to photo day. All you're doing is just moving the money around into different points as to where it's needed. Right. So for us, we end up, our sales are the same.
Right. And you're able to maximize your time. Mm-hmm. And so, okay. Mm-hmm. Very awesome. So let's talk a little bit about the strategy you guys are using when selling online. So how do you build excitement for the pictures you're going to post online, and how do you make sales before picture day?
Carinna probably has. I feel like their system for this with their video stuff is way cooler than mine. So, yeah, you tell us, because ours is a lot more shortened version.
Okay, got it. Yeah, because you're, because I know, Rose, that you are in contact with the actual customer, right? For me, it's the board member. That's who I have to be in contact with. And I have to make sure that I create content that the board member is going to be sharing with I have to rely on one person to get out information to 1,000 people. And that's frightening. So that person is essentially like my salesperson. They're collecting my money for me, so I have to make it easy on them. I am constantly engaged with that board member. That board member is just like the gatekeeper to that league. So I have to send them, as soon as I book, I make sure I use all of Photo Day's marketing resources. 100%. That's how I'm going to keep everybody engaged. I'm going to send them their flyers ahead of time, the advanced pay flyers. We're going to make up videos that we're going to send out ahead of time on how to opt in, because we do one big public gallery. For me, I want the path to least resistance. So the path is going to be one code for everybody across the board. That way, nobody's contacting me on, what's my private gallery code? How do I access this? It's just one code. So I'm going to use the marketing flyers, the videos, and then marketing flyers afterwards to get the word out.
Okay, sweet. So you guys use advanced pay. You want to talk a little bit about how you do advanced pay?
Us?
Yes.
Okay. We do, right now we do $35 advanced pay credit gives you free shipping. Okay. That's just across the board. I'm going to increase it to $40 come 2025. $40 will give you the free shipping. I just find that everything is going up, right? Mm-hmm. Everything. Everything. It's to the point, like I haven't increased my package prices in years.
We should talk about that.
Yeah,
I think we are. Yeah.
We should talk about that. Okay, because the Monday on the
because,
list, because our last meeting we did with our accountant person, CPA, he was like, I was like, I'd like to know, I do a cost analysis of what our costs have gone up in the last 2 years. And he said 14% on ours. Yeah. In the last 2 years and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, well, we'll be increasing. We'll be changing a few things.
Oh, that is, wow.
It's crazy. A lot of ours is due to travel because there was such an increase in travel prices from airlines to hotels and stuff, which obviously a lot of our business is travel. But I was like, just like, he's like ballparking. And he's like, pretty much you're about at 14%. I was like, oh, okay. Well, that's fun. That's a fun number.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, you got, it's like, you've got to, it sucks. I mean, you're using, it's just like $5 from 35 to 40, you know? And then I'm always like, well, should we make it 40? Should we make it 39? Does 39 sound better than 40? Because sometimes I'm like, sometimes I do. I'm like on that, like, is it the 99 or is it $100? It's like,
do you know, I did that too. And I asked Stevie, I was like, can I go to 39? She said, no, it's only $5 increments. So, because I was like, 39 feels like it's like within the same ballpark, you know?
Yes.
But 40 rolls off the tongue different. But I think we're in this stage of the economy that 40 is like nothing anymore. $40 will get you 2 boxes of cereal. You know?
It feels like it. Feels like it.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think people are less surprised by things like that nowadays.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So Rose, for you, do you guys, how do you guys market? I know you kind of have like that point contact person, and do you use Advance Pay?
We use Advance Pay not very often. We actually have a big shoot this weekend that we're doing Advance Pay. Pretty much if they're doing a specialized shoot with us. So like we're going to Miami this weekend and they have opportunities to do beach sessions with us. So we're doing that all day on Saturday. We've done it for years. And so they have to do like a $50 Advance Pay to do that and sign up. And we let that go towards the order. But we only do it when we're doing specialty shoots like powder, smoke, things like that. That's like they have to pay that in order to get to do the shoot, but we allow 100% of that money to go towards the order. So we're not losing it. It's just some skin in the game, you know, but as far as marketing on our end, our emphasis with marketing is Instagram and social media. We do really beautiful, like Canva designed squares or reels or things like that, like coming soon, photo day is coming up. Here's the schedule, blah, blah, blah. We try to kind of package that stuff beautifully for their like colors and looks, you know, for their branding, you know, with our imagery on it. But we don't do a whole lot of like trying to pre-sell before it. Our whole emphasis is we want you to love the images. And if you love the images, you will buy them. So that's our plan.
Okay, sweet. So you guys kind of use Advance Pay as more of a sitting fee. So that's awesome. And you use private galleries or? Yes,
we're like 95% private galleries because we mainly do females that dance and cheer. And so we really just do private galleries. So all the images just straight go to that parents. If people want to composite their groups or teams for any reason, we have all that data information to be able to easily do it within Photo Day. So it just makes it easier. I mean, there are certain gyms now that require for us to do only private. They don't want any images of their kids going to different parents or things like that. So we just kind of across the board have made it just kind of our standard of stuff. And that really works for us, especially because when we do so many buddy photos, you know, it's all girls, it's all cheer all the time. So they want their buddy photos. And so that allows with the capture stuff to separate things very easily and not have to search and find stuff. And we find that parents really like that. So that's what we use.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I'm raising my hand like there's 20 people in the room.
Did you put it in the Q&A?
All right.
So Rose, when you're going to do a specialty shoot, do you ever do like a regular, like the dance studio, and then you add the $50 specialty shoot for powder at the end? Do you ever do something like that?
Yes.
That's how you do that.
Yeah. So if they wanted to do powder, like would open for a certain amount of time, but to book a slot, they have to do the Advance Pay.
Okay. For that specialty in particular.
Yeah, for that specialty in particular.
Okay. And do you find that everybody's showing up, or do you find anybody's like doing refunds? How do you handle that?
Only not very much on the refunds. I mean, if we do, we're getting it like the day before. Someone says that they can't come and I'm too much of a nice person, then I'm like, okay, we'll refund you, even though it says da da da, you know, because that always happens with our beach shoots or something like that, but not very often. But it's like, if they're going to pay, we know they're going to show up more times than not.
Right. And you make them choose a time slot as well. So it's like,
yeah.
Kind of
and do you keep those separate? So is the pricing all the same then? So they've put $50 from the powder. Is that like going to be a totally different opt-in, or is it the same?
Yes. We're going to treat that totally separate. Usually if we do something on the same day, I might put them in their galleries as well. But usually if it's a specialty shoot like beach or powder or smoke or something like that, it's going to be a totally separate link. But a lot of times we're doing that on a separate day anyway, so their images are not going to come out at the same time. A lot of times, if we can do it the same day, I'll do it, but a lot of times we can't.
Okay. And do you get parents who ask you to combine those galleries?
Oh yeah, all the time, and I hate it. And I'll say no. If it's shot on the same day, I will. But if it's like, no, this image is in that gallery and this image is that way, and it's like, no. I've learned,
say no.
Yeah, I've learned that no is a word, but also a sentence. And so I can just say no without needing to explain myself. Like, nope, we can't do that. Just like, nope. No.
That's fantastic. Yeah, that's a struggle for a lot of people
It is. And it's hard.
You know, and I've seen a lot of this topic come up with combining galleries, you know, in the Photo Day users group. So I'm just interested to see, you know, there's always the ones where, you know, you have like brother and sister, but then you have a specialty shoot like yours, you know, and we've come across it in gymnastics. We'll have a separate one, and we have to do a private gallery because of that, you know, and yeah, we get the parents are like, could you just move those images over and combine them? And I'm just like, do you know, like, it's a specialty shoot. It says it specifically.
Yeah. It's hard. You know, it's so hard too, because I'm a person that like, yes, if they email me to be like, combine their siblings, I'll be like, yes, I will. I'll do it every time, you know, or I'm like, yes, path of least resistance. But I'm like, on that stuff, I'm like we did it with football. Like a high school team, and they have like 100 kids on their high school, and then we did a senior shoot, you know, 2 weeks later for banners, and they did all this stuff outside, and they're like still wanting us to combine that. I was like, no,
a solid no. Okay,
just no, like
move on to a whole different location and put in all that extra effort.
Now I would have, if they were like same day, wouldn't have made me come out twice. I wouldn't have had a double up on this. Then I'd been like, I probably then would have, just like we did it all at one time, not even worried about it. But I was like, no, literally had to do this shoot, and I have to come back out with gear and all my stuff and all this stuff on another shoot.
Right.
Yeah. No, I need to make twice the money.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's hard, especially with girls, because girls are where they'll ask, I think, the most than the boys. But it's frustrating.
All right. I know you guys kind of started to start talking about this. So pricing, let's talk about pricing. So the big question is, how do you give value to your customers? So like, do you guys give package deals? You know, what are some strategies you use as far as packages go? And do you sell digital bundles or multiple digitals? Carinna, go first.
Right. So I think it's fair to say that both of our companies, we both produce beautiful images, right? Like Rose's is a different beautiful, but then ours is like a consistent, high quality, like above average beautiful, right? So what I think it's fair to say that. So the packages that I have to offer, it's difficult because in the Atlanta market, I have to compete with another competitor who offers what I, do at the $33 price point. He offers it for probably about $25. Now his images are vastly different than ours, vastly like on a 10-point scale. Like if I were to even say if we were a 10, he is maybe a 2. It's vastly different. And so, that's the value that we provide, is that I'm really just a few dollars more than my competitor.
Don't you find, Carinna, do you find that I have found when we dabble in boy sports that they are more price conscious? Like girls, you can price a lot more expensive in certain things but boy sports, they tend to be like, well, who's the cheapest? That's what I'm going to go with,
Yes.
Sometimes,
Yes.
especially I would say more in the high school, not like league stuff, but like high school ranges, like who's the cheapest?
Right.
Yes. Like, you mean who they're going to pick, the photographer?
Yes.
Right. Yeah. You know, the funny thing about high school, and which I think is so crazy, is that a lot of these kids, this is like their last years. Like, why do you want to go with the cheapest? Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is probably the last 1 or 2 years that you're going to get of this athlete that you've had since, like, you know, they've been playing since they're 3 years old, at least here in Georgia. You know, they're playing the same sport and you're looking for the cheapest option. Like, that just
blows my mind.
It does, you know, that's always my thing. So, yeah, I mean, you know, I feel like, so our value is definitely in a few more dollars, even though our price point, I think, is going to go up now that, our cheapest package is $32.99. That's our cheapest package. And I feel like you can get a fair amount of pictures. And honestly, $32.99. I mean, we were just talking about, you know, the 2 boxes of cereal. I mean, holy smokes. I went and granola was like almost $9. So and I'm offering you all these beautiful pictures for $32.99, and you can mix and match, and, you know, you can mix and match your kids and, you know, the whole thing. So our price point is going to go up. Advanced pay is going to go up.
It's all going up.
It's all going up. And digital bundles definitely have, I think they're a great added value, where we do utilize the digital bundles. And Rose, I copied your pricing.
Oh, good. Yeah. I hope it's working.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, we do. I mean, as far as packaging strategies and stuff like that, we offer, I would say, inexpensive a la carte. You know, we offer digital bundles, which I feel like are pretty competitive with the digital going rate and stuff like that. And then I offer like 3 packages, like that's it. So I often try to, like, when there's an update in Photo Day, like go to my phone and be like, okay, I'm going to log into my gallery and see what it looks like to them, you know, like on there. And then I kind of felt like 3 was the sweet spot in package, like scrolling of that's like getting shown the most was like the 3. And so we did change our prices this year. We went up on some of them, just packages only, really. On a few products that we went up on a la carte products, but not the main print prices. And then our digital bundles stayed the same. You know, and so I feel like it just gives people, like, if you just want to get a couple prints, you could spend like $20. That's fine. Or if you want to get digital bundles, you could easily spend, I mean, $75 to $175. Like, and then our packages all have digitals and prints with them. I mean, we don't sell a lot of packages. I mean, we sell a ton of digital bundles. That's kind of where we're at a lot of times. Even when we get to prints, a lot of people just get a la carte prints and just make it whatever they want in their package. So, but we haven't had any complaints with it. So I feel like for us, digitals is where people are wanting to land and wanting to have quick access to all the time. And I don't know, I think we're like 85% or something like that, all digital. So I don't worry too much about the packages and stuff like that. But yeah, so I feel like we've got a little bit for everyone, you know, but we don't sell a ton of the specialty products. I don't try to muddy up the price sheet. I don't want them to have to look through water bottles and things like all the things that I know you can have, but I kind of stick to like buttons, keychains, magnets, like coaster, you know, like metal ornaments to be fun, you know, but like I don't sell like everything that's on the price list. I don't want it to be a long experience for them to choose out the products that they want. I just want to make it easy. And I think that the software, when you're looking at your phone, and particularly because that's where I go to look at it, I'm like, I think it feels easy. It's easy to navigate. It's not hard to find what you want on there, and it's easy to check out. And then you get your images super quick. So.
Yeah, that customer experience, that's really smart to go on your phone and see what the customer experience feels like, right? Because sometimes I think on the users group, I see somebody and they're like having a panic attack about something. And it's like, have you even done the customer experience? Like to see what it is that they have to go, like they start complaining about certain aspects. And it's like, the customer literally has to confirm every little thing along the way. Like at some point, it's not necessarily Photo Day's fault. So let's stop going on Photo Day users group and bashing them. Like, let's go on to, you know, it's the actual user, but why don't you know what it looks like? You know, hold yourself accountable too. So
that's a very important part of it. Yeah. You got to learn it.
Oh yeah. And I think people need to take the time to do that. And I 100% agree with you. I literally was looking at it the other day, and I wanted to send Lisa a message, be like, it's so pretty. I was like, you probably only hear the negative stuff, but I just wanted to tell you that I think it's really pretty, and I would love it if I was doing the experience. I was like, cause it's nice and it's easy and it's branded well. Like I won't use certain products, certain other programs that are out there just because their branding experience looks so contradictory to my brand as a company that I'm like, nope, this looks like 1985 and I'm not going to use this because this would be such a disconnect from our brand, you know. But I was like, the experience is really nice and it's pretty. Is it perfect? No, because nothing is going to be. And some people are just dumb too when they check out, and it's like, it's on them, you know, of figuring it out. But I'm like, overall, it's a really great experience.
Right. I think from a consumer perspective, like if I go onto a website and I want to order something, no matter how bad I want it, if the website looks like it hasn't been updated in forever, like I don't trust it. So yeah, that's
totally agree.
Okay. So on the same note, I mean, I know you guys may or may not be hearing feedback about your pricing, you know, so I know, and Carinna answered this, but how often do you update your pricing or have you stuck with what you know, and what response do you get from your customers about your pricing?
Oh, so since she hasn't updated hers, and we're going to talk about that later, we're going to talk a lot more about that later. But I just, you know, I think that's a question of like, for us, it was like, okay, you know, I meet with my accountant CPA like twice a year and go over things because ours don't fluctuate very much in what we do. We're a small team. We do have a lot of travel expenses, but like most of the stuff in ours doesn't change. So then it's pretty easy to see expense wise what is growing and stuff and where we can save and stuff like that. And I'm pretty lean and mean about it. So I want to make as much money as humanly possible. So like I'm pretty dialed in on what it costs. So as that number changes, then I'm going to change on the packages and stuff like that. Will it be tons? No. I mean, like they say you can raise your prices 10% without anyone saying anything. Usually after that, then you're going to get a pushback on it. But 10% is a pretty easy change and adjustment to do from year to year because of inflation. But do I do it a lot? Am I going to? No, I'll evaluate that in another year or two and probably do the same thing. Who knows with, you know, the world as it is. Like, is inflation going to go down? Is it going to get cheaper for me to fly? Then I'll adjust. But probably not. It's probably not. It's probably only going to get more
everybody
expensive.
A little discount on that day. Okay.
Yeah,
so.
but I think you have to look at that. I'm pretty dialed in on like, I look at my insights all the time. I want my buy average. I know where I want my average to be. And I know more importantly, I know where I want my buy rate to be. And so like, you can have a great order average, you know, and stuff like that. But if you have a terrible buy rate, then, you know, it's like that. So I don't know. I think that it's just smart to, you know, not kill yourself, but like be really in tune with all that stuff so you can make those, you know, adjustments when you need to be, because everyone's got to be making money. You know, you've got to do this. I mean, if you're doing this professionally and you're trying to do this full time, then you have to know your numbers and what it's going to cost, you know, to do your business and stuff like that. So I think it's really important.
Yeah, I know that I plug everything into my spreadsheets at the end of the year. And then, so I am excited to see what it is that I have to do to increase my prices. Like at what point, where can I like, you know, push the bubble a little bit on that and just see what happens. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I think on that same note, like going through and looking at what you don't sell to keep it simple. I think Rose, like you mentioned, like not giving so many options. I mean, that's another part of it. Like that, if people see too many options, it can.
Oh yeah.
So
absolutely. People will send me their price sheet and ask like, oh, what am I doing? I was like, well, just send me your price sheet and I will tell you what is wrong. And I'm pretty hardcore about it. Like I would tell you, honestly, if I was reading this and I have to read through it, then we have an issue. But I was like, it should just be pretty and inviting and simple and sell the products that you want. And the products, honestly, there's products that easily get damaged or cost more for shipping and things like that. Maybe not do those, you know, and just sell the products that are most likely people are going to buy anyway, you know, and just focus on that. So you can make your order form or you can make your buying experience more attractive, because everyone still is going to have to send out a price sheet, you know, and don't muddy it up. You know, you don't need to.
Right. Okay, so obviously the sales cycle is a little different when you're selling online. So how are you guys keeping sales going late into the sales cycle? Like, do you expire galleries or do you send out any promos? If so, at what time? What is your plan for that?
Mm-hmm. So I expire twice a year, and that's it. So I know that there's some people that they expire like, a month or 6 weeks or whatever, everything. So I'll at the beginning of the year, for us, it's going to be January 12th, which I feel like that's when people are ready to start opening up their wallets after Christmas. And so, because I never want to compete with Christmas time. People are just, I know that there's a Black Friday specials, all that stuff going on. I just feel anytime I've ever tried them, they fall flat. So I get them after once they've spent all their money, and then they're like, oh yeah, pictures. Okay, I can order these. So I'm going to expire them. They're going to start to get notices around a week before January 12th of this year in particular. And then I have the same thing set in June. So I think it's like June 15th or something. It's always going to be like the second Sunday in either January or June. And I expire everything. And then as soon as I'm done expiring and I do great. Like I bought a Sprinter from expiring this past. I was like, we made all this money. It's just extra money. What should we do? Yeah. And Jay's like, we really need a Sprinter. And so we went and we took it.
No, I think next year, Jay got the van. You do what you want to do this time. What do you want to buy?
Yeah, don't give Jay. Jay knows what he's going to buy. He's already got his list.
I would like to buy a Mercedes. Yes, I'd like to buy a Mercedes van.
Right.
Right. That's true. You're just a nice person.
So we took that and literally, I mean, there were so many things that we wanted personally, but yeah, and he was like, we really need a Sprinter. And I was like, okay. So we were able to take that money and just write a check for it. And so if you expire twice, right, in January and in June, it's not like you're faking out your customers. Right. That's my thing. Like, I think it's tricky. You can't be tricky with your customers because they're going to figure out what you're doing. They're going to be like, oh, but I thought it already expired. Right. But then now it's reopened. So what are they doing? They'll never trust you, right? They'll never trust you on the actual expiration. So I do expire and then I reopen them the next day, just more expensive. But that's my shtick.
Okay, I'm very similar to what she's doing just because I took her idea and it works. It works great too. I do it in June as well because we are dead in June and it's great. Mm-hmm. And then I do it January-ish too. But I was like, boy, it takes a long time to go through those galleries and expire them. Is there, I was like, maybe I should reach out to the bubble and be like, can you help me?
Yeah, reach out
Can
to the
you
bubble.
expire
That
all of these ones? So, because it takes a while.
Okay, but do you do when you set up the gallery, you can set it up so that the expiration date.
Okay, I don't do that. I should do that.
Okay, just do it as soon as you set up the gallery from the get-go. So I have so that's why I know the exact dates is because as I'm setting up the gallery is that I'm putting that exact date for everything, for absolutely everything that's going to be, from January to May, right? Because June also is dead for us. So is going to expire in June.
So even if they shot something in May, it's going to expire the next month in June.
Depending on how far, usually we'll shoot in the beginning of May. That's the thing. So it'll be out there and it will just expire. And usually the ones that we shoot in May though, are going to be specialty shoots. So it's, they're smaller. They're not like our big money makers.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that.
I'm
going to do that. And then just release them. But yeah, I do the same thing that Carinna was saying. I think it's really great and very smart to expire those, especially in low times of your season where you're not having tons of cash flow and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And then we do the same thing. We just put we open them up the next day with a la carte price sheet. And so all those packages and options are gone. It's just no digital bundles. It's just everything is a la carte. The price sheet is, the packages are gone. And it's a really fun day. It's a really great day.
Love it.
I'm going to buy a van this year. I'm going to be 1 year behind them.
Right.
Because I want a van too. So I'm going to buy what Carinna buys in a year.
Right. be like, what'd you buy? What are we buying?
Yeah.
What are we buying?
I know, because it's fun. It is a good day. It is a really good day.
Yes.
All right. So no promos in the late stage for either of you guys, and you guys just expire. So Carinna, are you sending out, you're sending out a week before text about the expiration, and then you're having that day of expiration text send out, right?
Yes. I reach out to Photo Day. I have them set up for me because I am just dumb sometimes. And every time I try to do it, I do it incorrectly. So I reach out to Photo Day and I say, hey, I need this done. Can you please take care of it? And they do that for me. Yes.
Very nice. So custom promos, you want to do it yourself, but okay. So Rose, I know you largely do like dance and cheer, and then Carinna, you guys mostly do sports. Have either of you guys begun to dig into other markets and kind of broaden what you photograph? Carinna, go first.
Well, for us, I know Jay getting onto Instagram, for the longest time, he didn't do it. He was like, oh, what do I need to do that for? And then he just started dabbling, and somehow he did really good. Like, we don't know what the secret sauce was to that, but somehow he did awesome. And he was picked up. And so we've gotten a lot of senior business, not senior photography business, but like the senior banners through the schools, like the schools will contact us. There's certain schools now that are really reaching out to us around us to take care of their senior banner needs, which for us, it's not like a huge moneymaker, but I mean, it's sizable. It's sizable enough. Like it keeps our senior banner guy, Scott, it keeps him busy pretty much all year long. Okay. Yeah.
All right. And then what about you, Rose? You doing any sports or anything like that?
We do our local sports, and we'll do some randoms. Like we flew out to Miami and did a soccer club, which was random. But like, so if when we travel into certain cities and then they've got something else, like a different child that's on a different sport, if they have the amount of kids that we need, we'll go and do them. But we don't advertise it very much. We try to keep our feed as clean as possible to what we do really, really works for us, which is really clean backdrops, really beautiful images. You're not going to see a lot of outside stuff with ours, but we do it. And, I feel like it's a totally different, just a totally different thing. So like the lights that you need for outside is not the lights that you need for inside. It's just so different. You need different equipment. And so it's a totally different ball game. So I don't want to travel with that stuff. So we will do like our local sports, our local high schools and things like that. And maybe down the line, dabble in a little bit more. I mean, we're not in a place where we have a lot of free time to book that other stuff up. And so we're definitely not focused on trying to do that stuff. So no, not a ton for us right now.
But you do it well. The stuff I've seen you put up has been really good.
Thank you. Well, it's because I came to your class twice because I was like, I feel like I came to the first one. And I was like, yeah, I get it, but I don't get it. And I was like, I'm going to come back again. Okay. I got it more dialed in. So I got the outside like kit stuff. And I'm like, that's beautiful. And I do. I'll walk away going, that's really pretty. Why don't we do that more or something? But I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so many, I feel like those things are so many more bodies. There's so many more bodies to doing it. Like cheer or dance or something. You're a lot of times you're under 200 kids, and stuff like that. That's, I can go and do that by myself, so our profit rate on it is higher, so it's like, but like sports clubs, I'm like, boy, there's millions of them. There are millions of them. They're all wearing Crocs. And I'm like, put your shoes on. What are we doing? I don't know. Like, it's just a totally different, but I do like it. And so that might change. I might get tired of traveling very soon and then be like, need to do more stuff locally because that is nice. But then I'm buying a van. And I'm putting all my stuff in it.
All right. Then you're going to have to do sports.
I know. Gonna have to.
Okay, so you guys both have very strong brands with both of y'all's companies. So how does your brand reflect who you are?
I would, for us, the brand, when we started, my husband is, he's an ideation person. So if you do your strength finders test, ideation is really high for him. So he's a huge creative, and he is a really great problem solver. And so like when we were at the beginning kind of doing everything, when we really more honed it in, like, okay, like we're not going to do everything on the planet. What makes us the most money and what do we want to do? We very much landed, I would say, on what we called at that time, like a Nike brand vibe, a very clean, not stuff to the backdrops, a lot of solid colors, a lot of strong fonts. Everything was in bold, things like that. So we definitely went that way, in that direction for our company. We've kind of stuck with the same colors, fonts haven't changed, things like that. All things that like you can kind of program into Canva now if you're using that, to have like your branding styles in there, so you don't have to like search it out and do all the things for it. But our look was what the words that we would say is beautiful, dynamic, was our lighting, and kind of colorful. Colorful's in there, but I would say our branding words were beautiful because we want everything to be retouched and gorgeous and things like that. And then we wanted really gorgeous dynamic lighting that's edgy but soft and great for female skin and stuff like that. And then kind of strong color vibes. So if you see our work, you see it on a lot of color, because I like color. And you know, we just try not to deviate. So it's like, yes, I mean, we go out and shoot a beautiful sports thing outside in the grass and it's gorgeous. And I'm like, gosh, the blues, and it's beautiful. But I was like, we might post something or put it on stories, but not a lot of it fits in our vibe, you know, of what we do day in and day out. And so we don't post a lot of that stuff. But I think spending the time, even if you're in a rebrand or you're wanting to grow a brand or you're just wanting to start a brand, a really good thing to do is to not do everything in the world, but to really hone in what are the colors that you like. And that took me a long time. It took me a long time and a lot of Pinterest to be like, go on Pinterest and like heart everything that you just look at and you're like, I love this. And then when we pulled all those images up together, it was just like, oh man, I like color. I was like, I wear black shirts all the time, but I seem to like color a lot. And so I was like, okay, I know I like this. And I just kind of started piecing together the type of looks that I liked and I like to create. And then try to live within that world and don't let it bother you if someone else is doing something totally different, you know, and just stick in your lane, you know, and be happy with it.
Very nice. All
yeah,
right.
that was a wealth of information because, you know, the thing, okay, first thing that you said, Rose, is that you and Timmy are both creatives. How in the heck do you both work together?
Okay, so Tim, I'm not a creative. I'm a really good workhorse. Tim is a really good creative. Like he is. Like it's annoying to me because I can spend an hour thinking of something to come up with a good idea, and he'll be like, "Well, if you just do this, that would be great." And I'll be like, of course you just said that. Like, why can't you? Like, sometimes I'll be like, hey, I need like 5 minutes. Okay, think this over with me. Because he'll be like, oh yeah, do this. And I'll be like, that's what we should do. That's a great idea. And I just can implement it. I'm like really good at like just getting it done. But he is an idea person. I'm a maximizer and achiever. Those are my top two. So in Strength Finders, like I'm a maximizer. Good enough is never good enough. And I'm an achiever. So it's like, I have to, it's like we get them photographed today. I will feel so good if I get them edited and they're out tomorrow. Like I feel like, yes, I've achieved it. It's good.
Right.
But those are my top ones. So it's a good pairing, but like he is definitely the idea, way more creative person than I am on the planet.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. Because me and Jay are just switched, even though he takes the pictures and I do the back end stuff. Right. So, yeah, because I am when you say workhorse taskmaster, it's like, that's me. That's you.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. You have to I feel like it's a really good pairing, you know, especially if you work with your spouse in the business, to have those kind of differences where it's like, okay, well, we're very different because we are very different people, but in this together, it's like, it works out really well.
Well, it's almost like for the people who are starting out, if they're just creatives, they have to find a counterpart in their business to be the taskmaster, workhorse / to keep them in line.
Absolutely.
I think that's the thing, because you named all these things that you go into Pinterest, you do, and you have these goals and you check them off, right? And it's so satisfying, and you're like, okay, I'm going to do this and this and get all my business together and all the ideas together. And then there's a lot of people who just conceptualize the whole thing, and they don't necessarily, they're too scared to like get through each part, or check every single box that's required. And I think that's what makes, possibly that could be like the secret recipe that makes us successful, is that we're able to have that a little bit of both, right? But I mean, I know I couldn't come up with the ideas that Jay comes up with, and then he could never sit down and go through the list like I do. So
absolutely. Yes. I think that exactly what you said, like, I think people a lot in this business struggle with kind of doing it all themselves, and they're not wearing the right hat that fits them. Because I'm like, I believe that everyone is created uniquely. They like, God has a plan and it is better than mine. And you are created to do this. So if you're not good at this, you need to find someone that's good at this, because that helps balance, out. And I feel like there's a lot of people that I'll have conversations with that it's like, I'm like, are you doing what you should be doing? Like, what are you really good at? What do you really like to do? Okay, well, let me partner you up with this person that's the opposite of you that really likes doing the other part. Because if you guys work together, you would be better together than you are independently, than just being on the struggle bus of like people that are just like, I'm just going to complain and no one's going to like my pictures and they're not selling well. It's like, maybe you need to work on something, like bringing in the right people that complement your strengths and your skill sets. And also, let's stop hiring cheap people. Like, like I get your people that are going to show up to a thing and just work for a low hour, but like bring in some people that can help you run it, that will high caliber people, that can help you take your business to the next place, because it's important. And not everyone is meant to run their own business. Like you might be the best photographer in the world. That's great. You're not going to sell anything unless you got the other component of people that knew how to run the business, know how to get those images out quickly, and things like that. Because I will say I have an ongoing conversation with people that I think that have really beautiful images, but they take way too long to get their images out. And I'm like, well, don't sell online. This is not a good plan for you. You need to do in-person sales might be your jam. Like, because you can't have that. You cannot wait 3 weeks to get your images out. You're going to have problems. And then you're going to be mad because your images are good. Like got to check your own self, and not be like all things to all people, but figure out what lane works for you. But it's not a bad thing to be like, I don't need to do this by myself. I need to find a counterpartner. There's nothing wrong with that.
100%.
Yeah. It can be so painful to be doing a task that you are not meant to do. It's like so heavy when you're not doing things that you're good at. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay. Well, are there any things that you guys are doing to build brand trust?
I just think the undeniable image quality is just going to be our best-selling factor, right? Like visually, that's what we do. We sell a visual product. And it's funny. Jay happened to go to a shoot the other night, and it was something we'd never shot before. It was a rifle team. And so he's
I saw it on Instagram. I was like, what are we
really
doing?
Cool. I know, right? It was a rifle team, right? And so
who has those? Only in Georgia. We don't have rifle teams. What is this? What's this?
We like our guns.
I'm like, we're in Oklahoma. We love our guns. But I was like, I've never heard of a rifle team ever in my life.
So we have a rifle team. And of course, it's at Cherokee High School, which is where Stevie went. Oh, yeah. and it's funny because he was taking pictures of a girl there, and her mom was at the shoot, like watching it happen. And she goes, oh my gosh, these pictures are so good. You're better than smaX. And he turns around, he goes, I am smaX. And she was, she was so embarrassed, but that's the thing. But the great thing is that's
a compliment.
Yeah, the compliment, right? Yeah. I came away, I was like, well, she knew who we were. We had photographed her daughter playing soccer, but we're just known around the community. We're known for good visual image. She said he's better than smaX. So that's setting, setting the standard. So I felt pretty good about that comment. Yeah, I thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah, I think it's great when people can recognize your brand, you know, or recognize your imagery, and they be like, "Oh yeah, that's a smaX photo." Be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, yeah," and so like, and then it's a bit like, "Wah, try to make that." Okay, so can you make that? Because that's the competition, you know.
Right.
So I think that is obviously we are exactly what you said, like we're a visual brand, you know, imagery is everything. And then I would say for us, building brand loyalty on the back end is just always saying we're going to do what we're going to do, like trying to get the images out quickly, having good customer service if people have questions, just having a really good back end support. We don't try to deviate from those are our two main things. Have it go well, have beautiful images, you know, and then be able to order quickly and efficiently. And if there's any problems or questions, having good help on the back end so people don't complain, because all it takes is one mouthy mom to start complaining because you took you 3 days to answer an email. It's like, nope, you know, and they will.
Right.
That mouthy mom will mouth her mouth to everyone, you know, and it's like,
yes.
So, you know, and just create kind of that distrust, which I feel like that is the issue. A lot of times when people put images online is they don't want to have that component of the piece of the pie figured out. Like, you're going to get a lot of emails. You're going to get questions. You're going to have concern. Oh, lipstick on the teeth is like my number one all the time with red lipstick and cheerleading world. So it's like, okay, you got to have people that will answer your email. And just like you would, like you have a problem with something you ordered online, you want to put in a customer service, like, and you want to get respond to today. I don't want to get respond to in 3 days or 4 days for down the line. You know, I want to get respond to today. So having a system or solution or plan in order to do that so people don't get upset with you.
Right. That's definitely part of building the good brand. It's so many different layers, and including, I know for me is the branding layers. They include even my employees, you know, and the customer service, like all of it, because it's all going to kind of flow together. So, you know,
the experience at the shoot, like, you know, people have a good experience at the shoot. I think that's a big thing too.
Right.
Okay. Well, I'm going to start the slides back up because I think we're going to get into questions in a second. But before we do that, you know, you guys have shared so much. Is there any other tips you want to cover that we have not already?
Don't try to take on too much at once. Yeah, build slow, because nothing, you will be in a free fall so quickly because you won't know all the components. You won't know the editing component. You know, you could get 12 new leagues, and then how are you going to edit all the pictures and get them all up? Or, you know, just make sure you have all your workflows, all the kinks before you start to take on more business. It's okay to start slow. It doesn't mean that you're a failure at all at it. It just means that you're just going to build a good, reliable foundation.
Totally.
I agree 100%. I would also say that, like, if you're in this industry and you're wanting to grow, you're wanting to make a change, you need some help, you know, attending really good classes that help people just in the volume world. Volume is a different different dragon than it is for portrait work or families or mini session people. So definitely getting help, you know, if you need help on imagery, if you need help on business support or just how to grow, like spend your education money dollars on things that are just very volume specific. I would say do that. I think that's just a huge investment as a company. And the only other one I would say to that is use some marketing money on your brand. I feel like a lot of people don't talk about that and don't do that, but I've done that. I've paid other people to look at our brand as a whole and change things and to morph things and to help us do that better, since we are just an online business. I think, you know, just making sure that you're spending that money on those resources, I think will greatly benefit you. I know Jay and Carinna, they have an amazing camp. Like, you should go to that. They have an amazing website. Go to that. I mean, there's definitely some things that are just for volume people, and you should definitely go to it.
Oh, thank you for that plug. And by the way, for an extra plug, we have one more spot.
Yeah, it's in December, right?
It's in December in St. Petersburg. If anybody wants to.
Yes, one more spot.
Now that they're inspired, Come and join us.
You should definitely, and get on the wait list for whenever the next one is, because it's really great. So
thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think that is it. Just so you guys know, Photo Day is here to support you if you guys have any questions about any of this, or just about Photo Day in general, about getting started, please reach out to our bubble. That's going to be in the bottom right-hand corner of your Photo Day account. Our team is awesome. And then also here is the price of Photo Day. So that is going to be listed here, and then included in the price is all the awesome features, resources, and sweet webinars like this. These are free, but
sweet.
Yeah, sweet. But yeah, thank you guys so much. This was amazing. You guys shared so much good information. But yeah, thank you. You have a great rest of your day. Thank you again for joining me. And thanks everybody for tuning in.
That was a great talk. That was fun.
It was a great talk. Let's do it again.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Peace out.